What's happening, everyone? Here you can see a West Ham Fan TV. Me and Scott are out on our holidays in Greece, but we had to do a video because we've just heard a quite interesting interview by David Gold. Now, it was on TalkSport. I believe it was this morning, but I'm not sure. We haven't been keeping up too much with the news, but he said some interesting stuff.
Yeah. You know, saying academies now are not like they were back in the day. You know, our players need to go out on loan, and they can't blood players in the first team with the way things are. And
well, they had that little thing on Twitter a little while ago, didn't it, about, you know, none of the academy players are going to be getting into the first team anytime soon. Do you feel it's been a little bit misquoted here? I mean, the first time I see it was an article, it wasn't the full TalkSport interview, and they seem to have extracted little bits and pieces from that. But apart from that, there is some quite interesting stuff I'd like to go in a bit later. But in terms of Cameron, do you think it's been a bit misquoted?
Probably a little bit, yeah. You know, I can see what he's trying to say. You know, with the way the Premier League is at the minute, you can't rush people in. It's a cutthroat business, isn't it? And that is it. It is a business. You know, but there is exceptions to the rule, and you can't sit there and say that every player in that academy setup. You can't say that every single one isn't good enough. You know, we know that there is.
But how do you know if they're not good enough until they've been given a chance? I mean, when you look in terms of last season, we was really sort of blood by injuries at the beginning of last season. Young Reece Oxford come in, played in the Arsenal game, was magnificent. Played 90 minutes, magnificent for the full game. You know, many people say, "Oh, he was in his pocket." He then played against Leicester, and he wasn't great in the first half against Leicester. But let's be honest, what Leicester went on to achieve, in hindsight.
Yeah, they made proven midfielders, you know, look average.
Yeah.
You know, when he was a youngster, again playing out of position. You know, he's not an older midfielder. He's a centre half. You know, maybe if he probably was right to come off when he come off in that game, and then probably should have been in and around the squad still, but still given another chance.
Yeah.
And I think he got a chance later on in the season, didn't he, against Everton?
Yeah, he did. Yeah.
You know, Lukaku spun in, but Lukaku spun many seasons.
But what I mean, this is what I think about it. I mean, at the end of the day, of course, it's a hard business now. It's difficult to blood young players in, but how do you know if they're good enough unless you give them a chance? I mean, you only have to look at Rashford, Barkley, Stones, people like that who have all been playing Premier League football and possibly chucked in at a young age because, and you know, I know it's a different era, but we've got our own Rio Ferdinand, Frank Lampard, Michael Carrick, Joe Cole, Jermaine Defoe, of course, who did go out on loan to Bournemouth. But I mean, all plenty good enough for the Premier League.
Of course. Rio, when he come through, he was playing up front.
Yeah.
They had to play him up front because we were that desperate for a striker. You know, and he had a couple of games playing centre forward. But
he did say something interesting about Marcus Rashford, who obviously is who he was talking about as the exception to the rule, saying, "Oh, Man United didn't have a choice; they had to chuck him in." Well, it's Man United. I'm sure they did have a choice. I'm sure there was other people available at the time, or they would have paid a makeshift centre forward if they couldn't get a proper centre forward. But Lingard. Teenager,
exactly.
Januzaj, teenager. This is Manchester United, the biggest club in the world. If they can afford to play youngsters, you know what is he talking about? To be quite honest.
And that's the thing. You look back 20 years ago. Ferguson won the Premier League with youngsters.
Yeah.
You know, by going, well, yeah, they're good
enough.
We're going to play them.
Yeah.
You know, we're going to get them games, play them, and it worked. You know, all right, we ain't saying that our youngsters are on that level that the Man United boys were on at that time, but like you said, without giving them that chance, Cullen, you can't tell me the season he had with Bradford. All right, yeah, it is League One. You know, it's a lower standard. The friendly against Juventus, he was our best player on the pitch that day. You can't tell me he doesn't deserve a chance.
Well, I think they need to be in and around the squad. Obviously, it wouldn't be fair to chuck them in every game and expect them to perform. He's saying there's so much pressure from this. But why is it that they are willing to sort of like gamble on loan sign? Let's be honest. Let's go back to last season. Nordtveit for one. Zaza, another. Zaza, the latter I'm more interested in. Why are they interested in gambling on these players that haven't played in the Premier League? And they'll take a gamble on them, and they'll take them on loan. And because what? He plays for Italy, plays for Juventus, he couldn't hack it in the Premier League at the end of the day, and he admitted it himself, yeah? So why are they willing to take gambles on people that cost them money? Toure, another one, played a couple of Premier League games for us before he got his injury. Maybe European, I can't really remember. That's how good that gamble come off, you know? But why are they willing to take gambles on foreign players? Because they're foreign players and not our own grown talent.
Yeah, that are playing the English.
Reece Burke has just gone out on loan again. He's I think he's in his 20s now.
Yeah. But
Reece Burke. I agree with the Oxford thing, if he could send him out on loan. But Reece Burke, Cullen, Marcus Brown, I think it's a very good player, personally. People like Martinez, who was out on loan last season.
Well, see, Martinez is what gets me last season, right? We were struggling for a striker. The Zaza thing didn't work out. Our strikers weren't scoring. We send him out on loan. Why not give him a chance? He probably would have done a better job than what Caleri did. Do you know, that's the opportunity.
That's another one. Caleri, youngster, brought him in on loan, willing to chuck him in, no Premier League experience. What difference is it between a youngster like that and a youngster like that? You know, and because he didn't get any games, he's gone out on loan, started scoring goals. For me, I'd rather have a youngster in because one, they belong to us. Two, they're willing to break a gut, even if they're not good enough. They're willing to bust a gut to get into the side.
Yeah, because they want that spot. You know, they see. It's like you look at Fletcher. You know, he didn't get given a fair run. If you're a young striker and you know, like Martinez, we signed him as a youngster. You know, he looks good. But like you said, get him on the pitch. He's going to put the same amount of effort, well, if not more effort than what Caleri put in. And if he goes on and scores goals, you have another situation like Man United did with Rashford.
Well, he scored
he
played about 6 or 7 games, if I remember correctly, and he scored as many as Zaza and Caleri combined.
There you go. So it says it all. Sometimes I just think they just use that as an excuse not to play the players.
Yeah.
You know, well, he's played for Italy. He's an international. Doesn't mean nothing.
Yeah.
Does not mean nothing. You know, if a youngster's there, like you said, he's willing to try it. He's going to run himself into the ground because he wants to keep playing. Because not only that, the more games they play, the better contract they're going to get. Martinez come into the side when Caleri come into the side, banged in 4 or 5 goals. It's win-win. We're winning because we're getting a young striker who's scoring goals. He's going to win because he's going to get a new contract. Yeah. So they try that a little bit harder. And like you said, they're our players then. It's not someone who's just there and thinking...
And it's saving money. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? In the long run,
that is it. You know, like you said, you're wasting the money bringing Zaza in. Right? Zaza was an international striker, played for Juventus, but...
It's a gamble.
It's a gamble, yeah.
Same gamble as you would take to put in a youngster.
Exactly.
To me, it doesn't make any sense.
No.
But going on in the interview, something that really grasped my attention was he kept on using this word, we've got to find the money. He was talking about centre forwards. We've got to, you know, you can't go on, we know we need a centre forward, which, you know, they've identified the problem. Yeah, right, so great. But then we've got to find the money to buy him. That doesn't sound like someone that's going to go out and spend money. That sounds like someone who needs to sell before they buy, right? Now, I'll give you a clue, David. If you're looking for money, mate, look in your bank account, because I've seen published accounts, and we're something like the 17th richest team in the world. The problem I have was this as well. Obviously, getting into the new stadium and all that stuff. You know, when we was sold the tickets, we was all of a sudden, as soon as we're going to move into the stadium, and these are the words of the people that sold us these tickets. As soon as we go into there, we'll have the financial clout to start competing. And I'm not even going to bring in Everton into this, because you know people have been comparing West Ham to Everton, and oh look. To be fair, right, the Onoriku, is that his name?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, alright, I might be saying it wrong, but the Onoriku deal wouldn't have been right for West Ham, and I was quite glad we pulled out because he had to go back out on loan. Now we need a striker now, right? And people moaning about not getting him compared to Everton. We need a striker now. If we'd have signed him and sent him back out on loan to Anderlecht, it's not solving the problem that we've got at the moment. We'd have been solving it next season, right? But we've got to find the money to buy a centre forward, right? As I said, they sold us as soon as we get into that stadium, we'll be able to compete. We don't have any outlay, hardly any outlay. We brought in more money. we've toted up the 17th richest club in the world. World.
Yeah.
You know, and you think about clubs in the world. There are some big clubs in the world that are competing for transfers. People below us in that table competing for big transfers. And as I said, people say about Everton. Just remember about this about Everton. They're spending money. They're just about to get about 80 to 100 million pound for Lukaku.
Yeah.
So they've got to have money to spend, and they need to sort of like, a bit like when Tottenham sold Bell.
They need to rebuild.
Yeah, they need to. Yeah, exactly. And they're saying, you know, we've got to find money. I mean,
well, I said they've just freed up 45 grand a week getting rid of Northlight plus a transfer fee.
Well, there was 119 million pounds brought into the club last year through TV rights, Premier League finish alone.
Yep.
As far as I'm concerned, and people might offset this against Snodgrass and Font,
Yep.
but there was 25 million pound brought in
Payet.
last year for Payet. Last year as well, we had 25 million pounds set aside for Zaza. That deal didn't end up.
No. Exactly. Plus, you've got rid of the wage bill of Zaza,
Payet.
Kaleri, Payet, who was probably one that was the biggest earner at the club. You know, so you've offloaded that wage bill. So there's money there. There's money there. They just, well.
So why?
Yeah.
Why aren't they spending it?
Because exactly, you know, they don't seem to want to spend it. For me, that's it. But also, him coming out saying we need 2 quality strikers, we need 2 strikers with Premiership experience. Yeah, we all know we need it, but don't publicise it, because now we go to, say Giroud at Arsenal, right? We go there, if he ain't going to play, or they sign another player, like 20 minutes at him, because they know we're desperate.
I disagree with this a little bit. Anybody, without him saying it, anybody knows we're desperate.
Oh yeah, I know. Yeah, but now you don't come out and say that. It's
No, I
like, it's
disagree
like
with
playing
that a little
poker,
bit.
you're showing your hand, isn't you?
Yeah, I know what you're saying, but I think you say you're showing your hand. I think that the hand is already there for all to see.
Yeah,
you know, the problem's already there for everyone to see. So I don't think it'd be too much. You know.
Or is it the reverse psychology where he's come out and said that we need to find the money? You know, he's putting it out there that yeah, we're after 2 strikers, but we're not.
We ain't got money.
Yeah, we haven't got the shed load amount of money that everyone thinks we've got. You know, we've got the money to pay 20 million for each player, but that's it. We've not got 25 million for each player. That sort of thing. So you know, could be a bluff.
Could be a bluff, but I don't think it is.
No,
I don't think
it's
it's an honest opinion from me. It's worrying. It's worrying for me as a fan. You know, why have we gone to this 60,000 seating stadium if we're still competing for the same people we was competing for when we was at the Bowling?
Yeah.
You know, it's ridiculous.
The thing is as well, when you look at Everton, I know it's comparing West Ham and Everton, the project of each club is not different. So why can Everton go and sign these players and we can't? You know, right, we know they're getting a bit. They're probably going to get a massive transfer fee for Lukaku, but that could fall through. They've still spent that money.
Yeah.
You know, so the money's got to be there for them to spend it, even though they're going to recoup it.
Yeah.
So you know, you can't tell me with the sale of the Upton Park, the move, the low outgoings that we've got of the rent and things like that, the money we've brought in through transfers, the money releasing players, getting rid of the loan signings. You know, the money's there. The money's there. It's got to be there. There's no way in this modern day football. There's no way that money can't be there.
Yeah. Anyway, what do you think? Leave your comments in the comment section down below. We'll leave a little poll up here. Is it a bluff? Is it in putting out the feeders to us fans that don't expect too much? Because although I know people have been critical, I mean, to be fair, on this point they can't really win. We don't want them to say anything. We don't want them not to say anything. You know, and I know ex-West Ham employees have been getting a lot of stick lately for, you know, saying things that, you know, talking about transfer deals and all that, you know, all that nonsense. But I'm not talking about that. All I'm talking about is he playing his cards one way, or is he playing his cards the other way? Is he bluffing, or is he, you know, showing his hand and telling us fans, look, don't expect too much, we ain't got a lot of money, which in my mind would cause an uproar.
I honestly don't get it. We ain't no financial wizards, but you've increased so much, decreased so much, it means you've got more money.
Yeah.
You know.
Anyway, thank you very much for joining us. We'll try and get another video out while we're out here. If we hear anything else, I know the boys are still doing all their transfer videos back at home. Don't forget, this Sunday, Sunday the 2nd of July, as we record this, Thames Ironworks Community FC have their first ever game, and although we're speaking about West Ham like that, I've got to say a big thank you to West Ham and Jack Sullivan in particular for helping us out with a kit issue we had. The first game's come a little bit earlier than we thought it would be. Our kit isn't ready. And West Ham and Jack Sullivan in particular, who sorted it out for us, and the kit man, they come out and loaned us a kit, 20 kits, so the boys can play their first game. So thank you very much for that, Jack, and West Ham United, of course. But what do you think? Tell us everything you think in the comments, in the comment section down below. You know, as I said, I'm sure we'll be back at some point.
Yep, there'll be something else pop up.
There'll be something else pop up, I'm sure. We're only here for another 3 days, but it's never quite on the terms of West Ham. But thanks very much for watching. One thing left to say, Scott.
Yep.
Come on, you Irons.